all, Jamie Rodgers here today for Craftmania, and today we're going to do a product focus video on my canvas collections. Now, for those of you that might already be in the know, you're going to know that we've had 2 different releases to our canvases. We have got 7 of the original small and we have 5 of the larger designs. The shapes do of course mix and match, and you can create stunning effects by using them all together or individually. We have 2 different bundles for you that are live on the website at the moment, full of money saving, to be honest, money saving bundles. You can buy all of the small ones in one bundle, or you can buy all of the large in the other, or you can even get a bit of a discount if you just want to cherry pick and go for odd designs. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk you through them. I'm going to show you lots of samples as we go, and then at some point in time, as long as I don't waffle for too long, we're going to do a few demos as well and show you how these actually build, what you can create with them. And to be honest, the cards I have picked to demo for you are so simple. I'm hoping to get in a good couple of demos before you're all falling asleep. So what we're going to look at to begin with is our Octagon design. Now these are the original smaller designs. They're still quite a size, so when I bring in the board here, size wise it's 2 inches by 3.5. If you're somebody who prefers centimetres, that's 5 centimetres by 9 centimetres is your actual built size. When you look at the packaging, and if you look around or you look on these on our website and you see the packaging, the size, that's actually the size of the die. To me, that's not important. We want to know what it builds to, what you're actually going to be working with. So the measurements I give you from the boards are those of the size of the actual product. So with our die, what's it all about? Well, the die will cut and it will score our lines, it will cut our tabs, and it will give us the ability to fold back upon itself. We then have 3 nesting dies on the inside here. So if you want to be cutting windows into the tops of your canvases, you can do. If you want to leave them as a solid, you can do. So many options, so many choices. You can go for smaller windows in these if you want to, or you could use these to layer up on top of them, giving you more depth and more dimension. I'm often asked why I wanted canvases and why these were the first dies I released, what was the inspiration behind them. To be completely honest with you, I've always loved home decor, and I've always loved the idea of trying to bring that into my craft, whether it be for home decor projects, whether it's for card making, scrapbooking, or anything else I want to do, including some Christmas tree decorations we'll be looking at shortly. I want you to be able to create that time and time again, really easily and really smart. I don't want you to see the edges underneath or your foam pads that are holding your products together. These are going to hide all of that. It means your papers or your stamping can run all the way around the edges, and you're going to get literally the effect you would have seen a canvas hung on your front room wall, which is actually what gave me the inspiration for them. So that is our first one, that's our Octagon. And I'm going to show you a couple of samples as we go through. I'm going to be quite quick with these because I've got literally hundreds of them to share. So we've got one of those there. We've then got one I'm going to sneak in already. This is going to show you the small and the large being used together. So when we get onto the large ones, this is coming soon. That will show you how you could be laying them out together on your cards. We then have for you a triangle. So same idea again, we have your triangle design, 3 nesting dies on the inside, die of course on your packaging. And then we have our board to show you this one. This is 2 3/4 inches by 2.5 or 6 centimetres by 7, depending on what you prefer to work in. We can do our big projects with these. So this is a big long card that opens out obviously for you to add your sentiments and bits. And these are photographs. We're going to be using these photographs on one of the demos I'm going to do. These are photographs from a trip that we did locally just where I live. We literally went out for some bike rides one summer, and my niece, who at the time was about 10, become a bit of a photographer, and she kept taking pictures of the beach, and we've got railway tracks, and we've got a little lake that's down the road from us, and she's photographed all of these, and I've cut them into my canvases and built them just again like you would see hanging on the wall in your front room or your dining room, wherever you wish to. If you would prefer to, you can cut them open using those window dies. So this time we've got the word love spelled out throughout the windows, but of course you could put in any names, any sentiments you want to. Moving on, we have our canvas panel die. So again with a panel, and this is worth mentioning, on the inside of every packet is inspiration. So a lot of the cards I'm going to share with you today, they're on the packaging. So if you want to see them again, or you want to refer to them, get inspiration, layouts, whatever, all in the packaging for you. Same again, dies on the reverse, obviously. board to show you how our panel is going to look. This one I always think is really good for sentiments, or if you wish to put your floral vases on here, or again stamping on top of, or if you want to put 2 or 3 panels on one card, that's going to work for you as well. Couple of cards to share with you on this one. So this one again is showing you the large canvas of the same shape done in the background, with the smaller ones layered on the top here for our vases and our floral displays. If we bring this card in, this is giving you a bit of a sneaky at some of the large and the small ones as well, so you can mix and match them throughout your designs if you prefer. If we move on, there's lots of these, so I am going a bit quick, I apologise, but there's lots to show you. We have your diamond. So this is the diamond design, same packaging idea again, inspiration in the middle like all of the others, and dies on the reverse too. When we cut that one out, this is what it looks like. It's 2 1/4 inches by 4 or 6.5 centimetres by 10. You're going to get bored of listening to me talk about sizes, aren't you? This is one that I've turned into a little Christmas tree decoration just by sticking 2 back to back. Printed picture on the front, little bit of beading, some braid around the side and a ribbon to hang it on the tree. Or we can use them to add our sentiments onto our cards if we want as a big focal point. Or again, we can go back to our photographs and we can do some nice diamond effects with those as well. Printed this time just in black and white, so it doesn't have to be expensive colour cartridges that you're going through. If you just wish to do some black and white photography, that can look really classy as well. Then we have your hexagon. So hexagon again, we have Christmas decorations. We have our solid design here, as you can see, with a printed picture on it, some ribbons and some pearls. Or if you want, use those dies to cut that opening, put some shaker elements on the inside and turn them into little shaker bits as well. That works really well. So we've got Christmas tree decorations. We have, of course, your die, your inspiration on the inside, dies on the reverse. Then we have your actual die set, and these ones are 2 inch or 5 centimetres to give you a rough idea of how big they're going to be. This is a card I created and I absolutely loved actually. It's one of my favourite cards I've created with the Canvas collection. This is using our dies, building them up, using them with some paint, some texture pastes, some rub-on effects, very Andy Skinner from the Creative Expressions gang. It's sort of in his style, a bit of a nod to him really, playing with some of his products to create that one. We then have some squares, so I'm going to try and keep all in order because I'm getting already out of order, aren't I? So we're going to go for some squares this time. So we're going to go for some bright colouring for that one. This is a card I've done where I've stamped round it with one of Andy's stamps, then coloured it in with alcohol markers. This one coming up is a frame. So I mentioned doing home decor. There's no reason why we can't do our framed elements for our shadow boxes as well. So that one's actually done with some pixie sparkles using a marbling technique and just added into a box frame, nice for a downstairs loop. Then your actual dies. This is a 2 1/4 or 2.5, sorry, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches or 6 centimetres by 6 centimetres is in our size. Same idea again. You've got the idea, haven't you? And then we're on to our last shape in the small collection, and this is our rectangle. So same idea again, die packaging, ideas, dies, and your rectangle. Now this is 2 1/4 inches by 3 3/8 or 5.5 centimetres by 8.5 centimetres if that's better for you. Same idea completely, build them up as you wish. Few cards of inspiration, so we've gone very inky again for this one. A few of Andy's products. We've used another one of Sue Wilson's dies on this one and cut some windows into them and laid them on the inside. We've used one of Sue's dies on this one and added acetate into the front of it to protect it and make it look more like a photo frame. Or this one here we've stamped using some pixie sparkles over the top of the canvases and then wrapped them round. Now that completes all of your small shapes. Now you can buy these individually if you wish to. They should be £10.99, but they're currently on the website on offer for £9.34p if you would like to pick your shapes. Or if you wish to, I'm going to collect them back just so we're clear on what you're getting in this packet. You can get all of the shapes, every single one of them, all in one big bundle. Now the bundle price should be £76.93p, but you can purchase the bundle for £61.99. So quite a nice little saving on that actually. And I'm sure I'll talk about this again towards the end of the video, but on our website at the moment we also have Clear Pay. So if you wish to divide your payments into 4 interest-free payments that are taken every 2 weeks, you can join up and pay with Clear Pay, and it just spreads the cost out a little bit, doesn't it? So you literally take the £61.99, divide that by 4 and pay it off over an 8-week period, which some of you may find helpful. There's no limits with that either, so it can just be one die if you prefer, or it could be both collections. If you fall in love and you want the little and the large, who could blame you? You can certainly do that too. So, moving on to the biggies. The big ones should be £14.49 each, and they're on offer currently at £12.32p. Or you can buy all 5 in that collection, should be £72.45, but you can get them for £57.99. So up to you whether you go little or large, or you might wish to cherry pick between them. Same idea again, so we've got our inspiration on the inside, we've got our dies on the reverse. One thing you may notice now is we've also added in some words. We had a little bit more room in the middle here when we were designing these, and we didn't want to give you more of the nested shapes because we knew so many of you had already collected the smaller ones. So instead we've gone for some words. So for this one, for instance, I wanted memories, being a big scrapbooker, liking the idea of putting these into frames, doing your home decor with them, using your photos. The word memories fitted really well. So you've got the word memories to work with them, and you've of course got all of your dies. Size wise, to give you an idea, this one is 2¼ inches by 5 inches. In centimetres, that's 5.5 centimetres by 12.5 centimetres. And if we bring in the same board, what we've got on here, this is our large panel. And if we bring in our small panel, that should give you a bit of an idea of scope. So if you did want to work these together, you certainly could. If I tell you the sizes again of the small panel, I'm not going to do this with every shape, but I'll tell you it with this one to give you an idea. So the small panel is 1.5 by 4¼ inches, and the large panel is 2¼ inches by 5. So you can see the sort of scope in how we're getting larger with our designs, how that's going to work for you. So just a quick few cards. Being bigger is good because it gives us more ability to cut into them. So this time I've used a small circle and just cut 3 pieces and put the word Nan in. I haven't got the card here, but I also did one and put acetate into each window, green, orange and red, and made them look like traffic lights for congratulations on driving or passing your driving test card. So that's quite a nice one to do as well. You could certainly nest these together and put 3 together and have 9 little windows to decorate inside. Lots of options. If you want to use it as a panel to build up your florals, a bit like we showed you earlier with the one where we layered the little and the large together, that would work quite nicely. Because we're a bit bigger, we can start using them in construction on our cards as well. So this whole card is held together with the panel in the middle being the bridge between the 2 panels. So it gives you that structure as well to build upon. We can then do our multi-fold cards. So this one's a bit of a beast. It sort of stands up and goes back and forth on itself. And it's got 3 of the panels on that one. So if you want to go for some big construction cards and make them your sort of focal points, you can certainly do that. Or if you wish to start stamping on top of them, this is one picture divided into 3 different pieces. So this is an A6 stamp that's been stamped with flaking glitter glue. Put over the top have been some gilding flakes, and then I've literally cut the imagery out and divided it by 3. And because we've got these big panels and we've got the layers to go beneath it, I think that really works quite nicely. So we'll move on from our large panel and we're going to show you our large hexagon. Now of course they will all come in their packaging, so they will come plastic wrapped for you, and you've got that ready and secure. Same idea again, we have the dies obviously in there, and we've got your ideas in the middle. The board to show you how this one's going to work is this one here. Size wise, this one is 3.5 by 2¾ inches, and in centimetres it's 8.5 centimetres by 7.3. This time we get the word dream. I will be honest with you, I go back to using this sentiment so often. I just find it's a nice little sentiment that fits in the gaps on cards when you don't necessarily know what you want to add to it. Maybe you've put your sentiment on the inside, or you want a big verse. That just sits quite nicely on the outside. I think it works quite well. And again, as a scrapbooker, that comes in for quite a lot of photos as well there. Similar to the last one we were talking about, same pictures or stamp designs, stamped and flaked and then cut up to go onto our panels. This one was done for our hand-picked by Jamie April bundle in 2022. So if you want to know more about how this card was created and the bits used on it, do go look at that video as well. But it shows the canvas in the background here just as a support act to hold up our flowers and pieces. Similar story for this one. It's a very similar card to the last one, just done in a more darker colour scheme. Also done for the April handpicked by Jamie bundle. So more instructions on how that's done can be found on that video if it's the look that you'd like to achieve. Then if we pop these on to one side, we can go on to our large square. So we're back to the same idea again with our packaging ideas on the insert, dies on the reverse. This time we have the word love. And your square size is 8 centimetres by 8 centimetres or 3 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. This again is a really good one for bringing in your photos. So down where our lake is, not that far from me, we also have a nice set of string lights that run between each of the lampposts. And that's what's actually been sort of photographed for our little scene here. You can see the lights going through the pictures. You can see the lovely silhouettes of the trees. So it's just an ordinary little park just down the road. This is one of the cards I'm hoping that we might get a chance to demo for you on this video, showing you how we can use them as insets and then putting our flowers and bits around them as well. So we'll chat more about that one a little later on with a bit of luck. And then we can move on to our large octagon. So with the large ones, there is only 5 in the collection to these. There's 2 that are missing from the small amount or small sizes. So there is slightly less to the bundle, but that hopefully gives you the ability that you can buy both bundles, maybe. We'll see. Then we have our large octagon, as I mentioned. Same idea, we've got our cards on the inside, more inspiration than I've shown you already. Words and dies on the back of them. This time we have the word cherish put onto the set. I love that one. That's another one I use an awful lot of. Size wise for this one is 7.1 by 11.3 centimetres or 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/2 to give you a size idea. This card we've gone for the word in the middle, the cutouts. The frame has also been achieved by using our nesting dies. Then we've just put it into an embossed frame. This one's similar idea, but we've actually put some stamping underneath it and just added a black frame on using the nesting dies and a couple of flowers as well. And then we'll go on to our last shape, and then I promise we'll do some demos to give you some inspiration and show you how these build, because I think that's always quite important that you get to see how they go together. Oh, another octagon for you as well, this time with a stamped image on the front, a little bit of distress inks. Some of the papers in the background are from one of my paper pads. I believe that's the Floral Fusion paper pad used on that one. And then we have our rectangle. So this one has the word family on the inside for you to use. And then again, we've got your inspiration on the inside of the packaging, dies and bits on the back. Size wise for this one, we are looking at 6.8 centimetres by 11 or 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4. And this one again is just a really fun one for layering up your bits. Adding on your stamped images, adding on your photos, whatever you wish to be working with. So your large bundles or your large dies, don't forget you can buy them individually if you wish to. They are £14.49, or that's a recommended retail price, reduced to £12.32 if you wish to go for them individually, or you can buy the bundle. The bundle of all 5 of the large dies should be £72.45, but it's reduced at the moment to £57.99. If you are lucky enough to go for all of them, few more cards of inspiration, then I promise we'll do some demoing. Just if you can get both sets, using the 2 together works really well. So we've got the little square, we've got the large square. Then we bring in this one and we have got our 2 different sizes once again. I'm just using some stamps on there and a bit of colouring. Same again, but this time we've done some heat embossing with our butterfly stamps. I showed you one of these earlier using the 2 different sizes, one for your sentiment, one for your large stamp. If you wish to layer them, that works really well as well. So again, I did show you this with a panel one, but this is this version's style, really easy to do. And all of these frames are achievable using your nested dies. And then the last one along them lines is this one, which again shows you the layering of the different styles and sizes. So lots and lots of scope. If you can reach for more than just a couple, I think you're going to enjoy them. You can also do much bigger projects too. So if I bring in my little box here, this is getting a bit tatty now. It's been knocking around in my sort of workroom for a while, but all the triangles on the top here, of course, are from the small triangle set, and they just make up to make quite a nice box top. I've embossed mine in a 3D folder, and I've painted them and added some texture paste to them to give them a bit of an oldie worldy feel. That actually reminds me a lot of pizza. Just looks like a margarita pizza and always makes me feel very hungry when I look at this. But I do quite like it. So it's just a different idea. I'm more trying to reassure you that you can take these components and you can build them into much bigger things if you wish to. So we'll chat more about the bundles a little later on, but why don't we do some demos? So for our first demo, what we're going to be using is we're going to be using our lovely die. Now this of course is using our hexagon shape. This one is a 2-inch die to give you an idea of size. I'm going to bring in some of my photos. Now these are the ones I've just printed off of my home computer onto some glossy photo. I want to say it's paper, but it's not. It's a bit thick, but it's certainly not card. I can't honestly remember the GSM of it, but it's a nice body. It's going to be strong enough to build my canvases. So I'm going to use my Vasson Creative machine. Now one of the bits I love of this machine is it has magnetic plates. So when we come to putting our dies in place, we don't have to worry that they're going to move. So when we're picking the area of a photo that we used to use, and we're allowed to do this, the machine tells us we can do this, we can cut down into our magnet. So I'm going to take the photo, I'm going to pop that in place, I'm going to bring in my die. Now of course I do have to pick with this shape whether I want it to have a flat bottom to my picture or if I wish to have a pointed bottom to my picture. And for the card that we're doing, we need to make sure they're all the same. We don't want seas and lakes going downhill. That's not going to look good. So we're going to bring this in, we're going to pop it onto the side here. Now something to always worth bearing in mind is this extra tab, this part where the edges start to crease in. They're the bits that are going to be wrapped around to the back there. The next part, this part under here, that's going to be your side. So if you're doing family photos or pictures of something that you don't want to lose areas to, or you particularly like a part of the tree for instance, make sure you're in that area. Equally, if your photo or your picture or your paper end's too short and you end up putting your end tab over the edge into the white area on this for instance, it's not the end of the world. No one's going to see it. They're going to see the side and they're of course going to see the front, but they're not going to see that end tab, so it's not too bad. We don't have to worry about that, so we're going to pop that right down in the middle, excuse me, and we're going to use our cutting mat to go over the top of this, and we're going to send it through our machine. Now this is a really cool A5 machine. This would take all of the dies. It doesn't matter if you're using the large or the small, that would be no problem whatsoever. So if you're looking at this wondering will they fit in my Cuttlebug, my big shop machines like that, you've got no reason why they shouldn't. Once that's cut for us, it will just fall straight out. These cut really nicely, really well. Obviously, if you want to add more cutouts from your pictures or your cardstock, then of course you can do that. But this is the bit we need. This is our piece that we're going to work with. Now the die itself is going to score these lines for us. Now these are our folding lines and you're hopefully going to be able to see them on your screen. So for instance, we have one here and we have one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our bone folder. We're going to work all the way around the side of the shape, folding and creasing these in and tucking in our little tabs at the end. Now at this point I'll tell you that the side walls to your shape are 7mm. So this height that we're actually building our canvas to be is 7mm. The backside tab is 7mm. So you've got a little bit of room there if you want to be building these with your red liner tape. There's no reason why you can't. Personally, I prefer wet glue and I find that easier, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But if you wanted to use red liner tape, you could do. If you would like to run a ribbon around the side of your canvases once they're constructed, then of course you could do that as well. And most of your standard double-sided tapes or red liner tapes are either 3mm or 6mm. So even the 6mm ones, you could run a satin ribbon all the way around the edge and that would look quite smart. So again, if you want to add more decoration to them, you can. Once you've cut them, we're then going to start gluing them. So we've cut them, we've folded them, now comes the glue part. So I'm using Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue, it's my go-to glue, but I always decant it into these ultra-fine bottles so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to pop some glue just on my little tab. Wait there a second. Hot lights in here, I'm afraid, so our glue sometimes just like to seize up on me. So we're going to go back, we're going to add a bit of glue onto our tab. We're then going to go for the opposite tab. So when you fold this over, we're going to go to the opposite side and we're going to add some glue onto here. Now the reason we're going for the opposite side is when we interlock them two pieces, that can't go any further. When we push on it, we know we're level because they can't go any further. We're then going to take a mini peg and we're going to pop that in place, pushing the mini peg right the way into the construction so that that little tab that we folded over is against the wall and being held there by the peg. We're then going to carry on working around and we're going to keep doing this on every single one of these areas. Now you'll get a lot quicker at this than I'm trying to do. I want you to see what I'm doing as I go, but a little bit of practice and a few more of these and you'll soon be flying around them quicker than you can imagine. And we're going to pop our peg back in place. Now these pegs, we've not included them in your bundles for you because we know a lot of you have probably already got them. If you haven't got them, then check out the Craftmania website because you will of course find them on there. They're so good for decoration. Again, I quite like using them in my little shadow boxes and bits like that too, or even on my cards sometimes. But they're really good for holding anything that's wet in place just while we're working with it. Oh, if I can get hold of them. Now the shape I've picked is the most complicated to do, which is good because that's what we need to show you is the hardest bits to do. But it's harder because of obviously we've got a small area and we're going to try and fit quite a lot into it. So when we come to the end, we're going to tuck that tab in and we're going to get that one on the inside. We're going to have this one on the outside and we're going to tuck that across to the top. And we're going to try and do one at a time. We're going to bring in our peg and we're going to add that down. Across there, a little bit of glue on the edge there. This dries clear, this glue, so I'm not worried if I see any on the top. I'm going to add a little bit there and we're going to tuck that in and we're going to add the peg onto there too. Now with these, once you have added your pegs, because there is a bit of exposed glue, I tend to be a little bit heavy handed. I do recommend that by the time you get to the end, you go back and you start removing your pegs because that will have already started to hold and will have dried and it will save your pegs gluing onto your work. So if you wish to at that point, start removing. Being glossy paper, this is taking a little longer to set. So I'm going to set that to one side and we'll come back to that shortly. But I've already done ahead and I've already built the ones I need for the project that we're going to work on. I've also got my card ready and I've got my black card laid onto this. This is an 8x8 card. I've gone for a black layer in the middle of it and I've gone for some coconut white card to which I've stamped on the back using our old letter stamp. Again, you're going to find this on our website if it's one you would like to add to your collection. Just adds in a bit of a vintage feel. I'm then going to bring in my pictures. Now on the back of these, and it's actually, I'm going to do it properly. I didn't think I would, but I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to build up just to see where they're going to go before we start attaching and gluing. And this is quite nice actually because the order I've picked these up in, I've instantly put two greenery pictures together and I've got all of these sort of sea lake views. So what we're going to do just to balance it out is we're going to interchange that one with this one just so we balance the green slightly. We're then going to lift it up and I'm going to show you the inside. Now in here I have 2mm foam tape and I've put 3 levels of it together which gives us 6mm in height of foam tape. Now I've done it as 6mm. If you remember I told you the walls were 7mm. I don't necessarily need this to glue it down, but when we post it our canvas has structure. It has protection because it's got that foam tape in the middle of it. So it's going to make sure it's safe and it's not going to get damaged. We are going to take that lid off because it can help hold it in place. It's not a problem. And if you would like the front of your canvases to dome slightly, then you can of course add in more foam tape so the actual middle pops up slightly. We're going to glue that one down, trying to make it level and happy in the right area. And we're going to move on to our next one. Now obviously you could do so many different patterns with these. We could bring in the small and the large and alternate them if you preferred. Or we could build borders with them, patterns with them. There's so many options, honestly. It's just one of them things that hopefully you're going to get hold of and you're going to have so many different themes and ideas for them. And if you are like me and you like scrapbooking, the ability to be able to add your photos on these is just amazing. All of your family weddings and pictures. You know, if you go to a wedding and you take a few pictures and then at the end of it you think, well actually I want to send a thank you card for the big day, what a lovely way to add their wedding photos onto a card and send it to them. You know, that's a really nice idea. And it's just going to be a nice present for them to treasure and keep, and a memento of the day. I'll add a bit more glue onto that one, and we're going to rejoin to create our circle there, or our shape. In the middle of this, I'm just going to use a couple of layers. So we have a piece of black card, which I have, and we're going to pop that down. And then we're going to use our white one with the word forever stamped on it. Now these shapes, of course, are the ones that come in with your canvases. So they're the ones that go on top. So if you want to use them on top, you can do. If you don't wish to, you don't have to. And very quickly and very easily, we've made your card just out of using your canvases to actually construct. I'm just taking the mini pegs off of the one I did that's now dry. And that would now be ready to add on to a project if I wanted to use that one as well. So again, very simple, very easy, not too fiddly, and quite fun to do. And don't forget, I show you with the most intricate design, with the most pieces to begin with, because I think that's a good starting point. If you see the most intricate, you know all of the others are going to be a tad easier because they're bigger or they've got less join points to work with. So we're going to get these ones out of the way, and we'll bring in our next kit. So for our next one, we're going to go on to our large square design, and this is the card that we're going to be creating. So to make this card, what we're going to use obviously is our large square die. I've already gone ahead and I've cut that already. I then used the smallest square to cut the aperture in the middle. I've then used the next two sets of squares to cut the white frame to go over the top. Now I know I'm doing white on white, which isn't always that easy for us to show on camera, but it just gives that little bit of texture, that little bit of depth, and a little bit more fancy finish onto the top of our canvas, or frame in this case. So we're going to pop that in place and hold that down. Now to go behind these, I wanted an embossed panel. So I've taken an embossing folder. It's this embossing folder I've been using. You're going to see this on our website again. It's called Symmetry and Play. It's a 3D folder. It's really, really beautiful. And I've cut the square out to the size I need it to be using the dies included. And then I've embossed it. I wouldn't emboss first and then cut, because your die is going to squish your embossing. So try and cut your square, then work out what bit you need to emboss. We're then going to turn this over, and exactly the same as we did before, we're going to work round our sides, just making sure that our score lines are all nice and burnished and that they are ready for us to glue together. At this point, I'm going to bring this square in because I know that I need it to go in the middle, and it's going to be impossible to fit through the square on the front, and it's going to be quite a difficult way to add it once we've already put the frames down. So I'm going to hold that in the middle there, and I'm going to glue my frame exactly the same as we did with the last one, using glue on opposite sides and bringing in our pegs. So we're going to peg that corner to make sure that's in place. We're then going to do exactly the same with this one, just trying to hold that panel. We don't need it to be secure yet, that's not a problem. I've put my glue on the wrong side. If I had £1 for every time I put glue on the wrong side, I tell you the opposite and then go and do the same. And then we're going to pop our peg there to hold that one. And then we're going to pop our glue on that bit and that bit. So as you can see, this large one, a little bit quicker to work around. Only 4 joins this time instead of the 8 on the last one. Put our glue in there and fold into place. Now that panel that we have in the middle is still freestanding, and we're going to come back to that in a minute or two. We're just going to let that settle, because although, as I said to you, you can start removing your pegs pretty quickly, I do want to play about with that a little bit. So I just want that to set slightly more than I normally would. And we're going to go on to our card. So again, an 8x8 card. You don't have to make your cards this large, it's just my choice. I love large cards, so I tend to go for bigger. I've already gone ahead and I've used some rose gold of our pearlized card for our layer. I then used some white card on there, and I'm then going to pop on another rose gold layer. I love this colour. This of course is on the website as well if it's one you've not seen before. And then we're going to bring in 4 frames I've already created. I told you this would be a quick card. So our 4 frames, and I'll talk to you in a second about how we're going to glue that bit into place. We could build this out from the middle which is similar to how my card is, or exactly the same as how my card is. We can bring them all in, face them outwards, or we can go the other way. So as we've got one already showing them inwards, let's do one showing them outwards. So again, a bit like we did with our last one, we're going to work out roughly where we want them to be, and then we're going to go in for our glue and start attaching them. So wet glue around the edges, that'll give us that little bit of movement if we do decide that we want to move them. We're going to check on the edge here that we're roughly squared. Might have a little bit more of a gap in the middle of this one, that's not a problem. A little bit more glue around the sides. I'm going to pop that one on there. Making sure that we're always pointing into the middle with our embossing. More glue onto the next panel. And we're going to pop that one going into there. And then we're going to do our fourth and final panel. Glue around the edges of the frame. A little bit over the embossing. And pop that one down too. I'm going to give them a bit of a push in the middle just to make sure that they're nice and secure to our card. Oh, we're looking good, nothing's on the move just yet. And then we're going to talk about a few of our flowers. So I've used the Cosmos flower set, which is one designed by Sue Wilson. We of course have this on our website as well. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I could talk to you about flowers for hours, but I've just gone ahead and built them. I've crimpled the edges using some tweezers, and I've just offset lots and lots of different sizes to give me quite a 3D full-on flower. And we're going to build one on there, just checking our cards opening the right way. We go for a 10 this time. Put one up there, another one beside it, and then we're going to bring in some foliage. Now, one thing I do love about this set is that it has lots of different sizes and styles of foliage. They literally go off in 2 different directions and come in a multitude of sizes. I'm just going to bring in my clear block here. This is just a stamping block. You could use a tile or anything similar to that. I'm going to bring out a bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue so I can just dunk the pieces I need into the glue and thread them under the flowers, just to add a bit of shape. I'm going to put one of the big branches in down there. And we're going to go for one going across the top. And then we're going to bring in a couple of smaller branches. I get a bit carried away when it comes to foliage on flowers. This is something I really enjoy doing, is building up little corner elements and scenes. So don't rush it when you're at home. Play around, see how you get on. This Cosmos set also has a matching set of stamps to it too. So if you want more detail, you can actually stamp the stamps and then match the dies up to cut them out, so that you get some really nice stamped veins and details on the flowers, which I think looks really nice. And then we'll pop that one in as our last one at the top there. And then sticking to make sure that we're on the right side. We're then going to bring in our word, which we're choosing to use is cherish. And I'm going to be naughty, I'm going to put a bit of glue on my hand. I'm struggling with my bottle at the moment, so we're just going to get rid of that ultrafine nozzle. Put a bit of glue across there and just pad the word halfway through the glue. And then we're going to bring that in and pop that onto our frame. And then just while them flowers set, we're going to go back to our frame. So I don't want you to miss how to glue that back. We're going to just undo my bottle slightly with a pin because it seems to have got blocked. And we are going to pop our nozzle back on, and then we're going to start taking off our pegs. So our structure should now be nice and ready to add to, and that part in the middle is still moving. Obviously we haven't attached that to anything just yet. So all I'm going to use is my ultrafine glue bottle, and I'm just going to get some glue and pump it onto them side areas. Again, we've got that ability because they're in there ready to do that, and we've got that panel in place already. So we'll put a glue going around the sides here, last side, and then we can take the top part and we can just pop that down and then push it down. If you've got your bone folder or a poker tool to hand, just work the way around the sides there, making sure that that's nice and in place and attached to all 4 sides. It will also give your canvas a bit more structure, and it will prevent it from moving. You can then add any pearls or decorations and bits that you wish to on the inside of it. And that completes that card for you. So again, quite a simple one. Nothing too taxing, nothing too challenging. Just using your dies, opening up their middles, giving you the ability to put, in this case, embossed elements into them. That could have been stamped images, it could be photographs, it could be a whole host of things. You could put acetate over the front of the window if you wanted to, in exactly the same way as what we just added that back panel in. If you put a piece of acetate as a square in there to begin with, you could even put red liner tape around the sides to make sure it's really stuck in there nice and firmly. Then you could turn that into a shaker box. So lots and lots and lots of ways that you could take that concept and run with it and add more to it if you wish to. And then on to our third demo. So this time we're going to bring in a couple of different sizes, and this is the card that we're going to create. So this one really is very simple. There is nothing complicated here. I'm purposely keeping these quite quick so that you can just see sort of a couple of cards constructed and played around with. So I've already gone ahead and I've already built and made my canvases. I have one here to show you, but it's exactly the same as the ones we just did, except it's got a solid top to it. So just glue, tuck in, and glue across the top and work around all four of the sides. I feel you've seen me do that. You've probably got the hang of that. If you wish to add your panels on top before you build them, that of course can be done as well. So just a black piece on there, stamp on the white one and glue it onto it and then build it. But you can of course add them once built if you wish. We're then going to take our canvases and we're going to do a bit of a dry run. So I've already got a template of where I'm heading, but it never hurts to do a bit of a dry run. Just check that everything fits where you want them to go. So we're going to aim for putting that one up there. We're going to bring this lovely stamped one in down here, and then we're going to try and make sure there's enough of a gap to add that one about there. So we're going to start off with this top one. We're going to remove our foam tape from the insert. This time I'm using 3mm thickness foam tape. So I'm just doing 2 layers instead of 3, because obviously that's going to add up to the same 6mm. We're going to use our glue just around our edge, the same as we would normally, and pop that down. Now the stamps in question, these are all lovely designs by Francois Reed, who is one of our woodware designers. There's a whole host of these sort of collage style backgrounds on our website. There's loads of them to choose from. She does vintage stamps so beautifully. They're some of my favourite, and I have stamped them. I can't remember the colour name, but it's a Make Art by Wendy Vecchi ink pad in this lovely sort of teal shade. Is all I've used, but obviously this card could be coloured to any colour scheme you wish to use. You know, there really wouldn't be a right and a wrong colour for this. It could be just about anything you wish. Now I want to step off the side of my canvas for my word here, or my dream panel. So instead what I've done here is I've built my foam tape up so it's going to attach to the canvas, but I didn't want it hanging off the edge and being a bit floppy. So I've already gone ahead and built up lots of foam tape to match the same sort of height. So we're going to pull off the lid off of that one. We're going to pull the lid off of this one. We're only going to add glue to 3 areas, or sort of a side and a half as we go round. And we're going to attach that going off the top there. Very similar to this one in the middle. I've left a gap for my foam tape to reach down, but I've already stacked in here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces stacked together. And a bit like the last one, we know that where the foam tape's going to go, there isn't a frame to attach to. So we're just going to put a bit of glue around the side there. I've added a little bit here that I don't need, but it will dry clear, so it doesn't matter. And we're going to pop that one on there as well. And lastly, we're going to add the word love, which comes with one of our canvases. And we can take this, add a bit of glue to the reverse of it. And we're going to pad that. Oh, we're going to throw it at random. No, we're not. We're going to bring that in and we're going to pop it down in the corner. Now, I've already gone ahead and added a couple of pearls just to finish that off. But that completes card number 3. So hopefully you're really seeing how simple and easy these are to work with. There's nothing at all complicated. And they are what they say they are. They're a blank canvas. So if you want to add your stamping to them, your embossing, your texture paste, your mediums, whatever you want to throw at these is going to work well for you. There's no real right or wrong to them. It's just about creating as you want to create. So for our fourth demo, because I think we can possibly do a fourth, just before I lose you all to boredom, hopefully. Not that you should be bored, very exciting products, but just in case, what we're going to do next is we're going to make a get well soon card with a difference. So I've already gone ahead, now let's have a look here, I've got my paper that I've put on here. This is my Floral Fusion paper pad. I've put that already onto the background, just one of the sheets from in that pad. We're then going to take our Symmetry and Play embossing folder, and I've done this again on our Rose Gold Pearl card, and I've already gone ahead and layered that onto some white card, and we're going to pop that on the top. Now I know it's sacrilege, isn't it? I'm covering up all this beautiful paper. If I wasn't doing this on here, I would have cut the middle out of it because I'd save that for another project. But as it's for you lot, you know, it's good enough that I can cover it up. But it is a bit of a painful one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about our focal point. So this time, and I've already gone ahead and cut it because I think you've seen how they're cut, so I don't want to hold you up, keep showing you them cutting. I've taken the rectangle die, and this time, instead of just leaving the middle solid or using the dies that come with it, I've used an oval die to cut out the centre. And we're going to build this in exactly the same way as we would before. Now, because this is a paper pad, I've taken a piece of card. So I've got a piece of white card on the back there, and I've stuck my piece of paper over the front of it so that that's nice and thick. And that's what I've sent through my machine to cut out. So my paper now has enough body that I can work with it and build it. So exactly the same as before. We're going to go around the sides here. We're going to add a little bit of glue onto these, and we're going to build them up, going from one side to the other. And we're going to bring in our pegs and pop these in place. Now the effect I wanted to create for this is of a tissue box. I mentioned it's a get well soon card, and this is what I'm after creating. So we're going to bring in our pegs. We're going to pop these in place just so you can see this come together. And we're going to do exactly the same on the last side here. Bit at the top, bit at the bottom. And then we're going to bring our glue up. We're going to do these top pieces as well. And we're going to bring in our pegs. And we're going to pop those in place to hold that down. And come back. There we go. And then we're going to do exactly the same at the top. Now this is a bit of a thicker medium because we have our paper and our card playing with us here. But that will take a second to hold. And then all we're going to do is take a tissue, and you can fold this up as neatly as you want it to be, but we're going to pop the tissue into the box so it's coming out the front. So it literally looks like a little tissue box. The tissue on the back there can be condensed down onto the inside, and your foam tape can run across it to hold it in place, just so we have the tissue coming out the middle. I've already gone ahead and I've done exactly that. So I've got my foam tape in place, my folded tissue, and my box already built. So this time I'm going to put my tape or my glue around the edges of it, exactly the same as we would before, and I'm going to remove the top to that. Then I'm going to pop that onto my card, just on one side, a bit of an angle, and I've gone ahead and from one of my stamp sets, I've already stamped a get well soon that we're going to bring in and pop down on the side here, again with our Wendy Vecchi ink, so that sort of teal tone ties in quite nicely with the paper design, and the paper design obviously coordinates with the papers at the background there as well, and it just makes a really fun, easy get well soon card, especially for men's cards. Okay, you might not want the floral paper aspect of this, but you think of all them papers you've got in your stashes, all of them tartan papers and bits like that. You could make some really lovely sort of more masculine themed tissue boxes, or you could do children's themed ones or baby themed ones. Sadly, for anybody who's ill, you could theme the tissue box to fit in with their theme or their style or their colourings, however you wanted to. So it's just a bit of a different idea. And that completes our fourth demo with our canvases. So you've seen the octagons, you've seen the squares, and you've seen the rectangles, all being constructed and played with. So now really the choice is just, do you want the littles, do you want the larges, or are you going to say, that's it, I'm going to go for all of it? Just to recap slightly, because I don't want to keep you forever, the small ones you can purchase all of those individually. They're £10.99 each or £9.34 on offer, or you can buy the whole bundle, which should be £76.93 and is only £61.99. If you wish to go for the large ones, then the large ones are £14.49 individually, which is reduced to £12.32p, or you can buy the whole bundle of 5 of those, and that should be £72.45p and is reduced to £57.99. If you have any questions about the demos, the projects, the dies, anything I've gone on about through this video, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comments. A lot of the products will be linked in the description, so if you wish to go directly to them, you can do. You're going to find everything, even down to the pegs, the glue, the folders, the stamps I've been talking about. You will find them all on our Craftmania website, which is www.craftmaniacrafts.com. Just in case you're new to us, P&P in the UK is completely free if you spend over £5, and if you live internationally, that's not a problem. We will ship anything anywhere in the world. Just pop onto the website and have a little look and see how that works under the customer service tab. Don't forget, everything we sell at Craftmania is now available on ClearPay, so you can divide your payments by 4 interest-free payments over 2 weekly periods, which means you'll pay for your products over 8 weeks instead of all up front. But we do ship them the minute you place your order, so there is no delay. You'll still get them nice and quickly. Lastly, if you do go for some of these and you make some stunning things, which I'm sure you're going to, please do come and share them with us on our Craftmania Facebook group, which is called Create with Craftmania and Jamie Rodgers. We would absolutely love to see what you're working on, and it's a really good place to chat to fellow crafters, keep up with everything that's going on with Craftmania, see what our design team are doing, and interact with us and show us what you're doing, which is the most important bit of the group. Thank you so much for watching today. I look forward to seeing you again soon, hopefully. Bye for now.